Good morning, Year 4. So today, your new maths topic is all about metric measurement. And what we hope you will be able to, by the end of the lesson, is to be able to measure and draw lines accurately to the nearest millimetre. So let's have a little look at a few slides together. So when we measure length, we measure how long something is. And we can measure the length of anything. So it doesn't matter how small or big it is, we can measure it. So we can go from something as small as an ant to we can measure the length of a football pitch. We usually measure using standard units of length. So you will have heard of these four examples, I would imagine. So we've got centimetres, millimetres, metres and kilometres. Now, just have a little think while you're watching this, which one of those is the smallest unit of measure and which one is the largest. Okay, so hopefully we'll have got that millimetres is your smallest, and then you've got centimetres, and then it's on to metres, and then we move on to kilometres. So that's those in order, and you will use different ones when you're measuring different things. If you're measuring something really small, then you will go to centimetres or millimetres. Measure something quite a bit bigger, then you'll move on to metres, or even bigger still, kilometres. So today we'll concentrate on drawing and measuring lines. So not just to the nearest centimetre, which we might have done in the past, but this time we're going to be using little lines in between them. So we're going to be measuring to the nearest millimetre. So let's have a look how we're going to do that. So first thing we need to know is what those little lines in the ruler there. So these ones we've got 4 centimetres and 5 centimetres, but we've got little lines in between, and we need to know what each of one of those represents. So they're your millimetres in between. So does anybody know how many millimetres there are in 1 centimetre? How many millimetres in 1 centimetre? Okay, well let's see, hopefully we'll have got this right. There are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre. So you need to try and remember that, and that will help you with your measuring. So when we're measuring a line, it's really important that you line up your ruler correctly, and you've always got to start from where? Anybody know? That's right, it's 0. So on some rulers, your 0 won't be right at the end like it is here. We've not got a 0 here, but this arrow shows where the 0 would be. This is the edge of the ruler. Now what you don't start doing is measuring your line from this line here. You've always got to start from the 0, otherwise you won't get a true measurement for the line that you're measuring. So we know there are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre, so let's have a little look at the length of these letters. So first of all, A. Now we can see the arrow there is pointing straight down, and that's showing us that the length there is 3 centimetres. Now you must remember to put on your unit. So you must remember to put on your centimetres at the end. It's a good habit to get into. Let's have a little look at B now. So we can see we've got 5 centimetres here, and we've got 6 centimetres there. And we've got little lines, and we've got a medium-sized line. It's not quite as long as the centimetre ones, but it's longer than the little millimetre ones there. And that medium-sized line is halfway in between the centimetres. So you can see them all along the ruler between each centimetres. They're showing us halfway. So we've gone past 5, we're not quite at 6, we've got 5 full centimetres, and we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 millimetres along. So the way we write that is we've got 5 centimetres, we use a decimal point, and we've got 5 millimetres. Now what have I forgotten on there? That's right, it's my centimetres. You must remember to put your units on. So we've got 5 centimetres and we've got 5 millimetres, so we would say 5.5 centimetres. C. Now this is a bit trickier because it's not halfway, but it's not on the full centimetre either. So we've gone past 9, so we know it's 9 centimetres. So we just count the little ticks. So it's 1, 2. So I would write 9.2 centimetres, remembering my units. And the final one, now most of you probably just think that's 14 centimetres, but that wouldn't be accurate enough. So you need to look really, really carefully where the arrow is pointing. It's pointing to 1 before the 14. Now instantly some of you might know that, well, if it's not quite at the full centimetre, then it'd be 0.9 before. But if not, just count them. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're not at 14, so we're still 13 centimetres, 13.9 centimetres. Okay? So let's have a go at measuring some lines ourselves. So what we need to do first of all is move our ruler into place. There we go, well I've lined it up and I'm all set to go. Ah, well, has anybody spotted the problem? What have I done wrong? That's right, I've not lined my 0 up with the end of the line. I've lined up the edge of my ruler, and that's a really, really common mistake. So we need to make sure we're moving the ruler so that the 0 is right at the end. Okay, I'm going to go along, measure my line. I've gone past 6 centimetres. I've gone past the halfway, so it's past 5, 6, and I'm on to number 7. So I would write that 6.7 centimetres. Let's see if we can have a go at the next one. It's a bit shorter, this line now, so I'm going to, again, very, very carefully line up my 0 with the edge of the line. So, going along, not quite at 4, so it must be 3 point something. I'll count the ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for this one, I would write 3.8 centimetres. And for the final one, it's that bit longer. Make sure it's really, so there, you can see there, it's not quite at the edge. So I've got to move it right at the edge of the line. Now it'll be a bit easier with your ruler than it is for me on the board, but make sure it's as accurate as you can get it with the edge of the line. So all the way along, up to 13, and I'm 2 ticks past it, so I would write 13.2 centimetres. Okay, so hopefully that's given you a brief introduction of how to draw lines. Most of you can do that, how to measure lines. Most of you could definitely measure to the nearest centimetre, but now we've got to make sure we're going that little bit further, we're looking at the nearest millimetre. The next thing we're going to look at is how to draw a line. So here's a few things here to bear in mind before you get started. You need to make sure your pencil is nice and sharp. We need to make sure we're holding the ruler nice and firm on the page. Otherwise, if it slips around, then it won't be inaccurate and it won't be straight. Good practice for underlining your date and title this as well. And remember to start at the 0, not at the end of the ruler. So we're going to have a little practice over here. So I've got my sharp pen, you'll have a pencil. Okay, I'm going to try and draw a line that is 14.5 centimetres. So ruler, holding my ruler firmly on my board. Okay, so hold it down with one hand. Nice sharp pencil. Now my 0 here is right at the end of the ruler. So I'm going to start at the end, but you need to check closely on your ruler, look for your 0. If it helps you, just put a dot. If it helps above your 0, then you know where to start. Okay, hold my ruler firmly in place. I'm going to go along now to 14, so all the way, so that's 14.5, and that's halfway there. Okay, and I can write next to it that my line is 14.5 centimetres. Okay, now some of yours might ask for things like 3.8 centimetres. So on mine it's a bit tricky because I've not got the individual millimetres, but you then will just need to look carefully and count your millimetres on your ruler so you can draw your line accurately. So today's task, what we want you to do is turn to chapter 19 in your Galore Park book, which is page 224. Read the little introduction and then complete exercise 19.1, which is measuring lines. Then read the little introduction about drawing lines at the bottom of page 225 and over onto 226, and then complete exercise 19.2. Good luck.